A hiker walks 25.5 kilometers from camp at 35 degrees south of east. On the second day, she walks 41 kilometers north of east at 65 degrees. Determine the displacement. So our first step, we're going to draw triangles. Okay, notice they had 2 different days that they walked, so we're going to have 2 different triangles. First one, I'm doing purple. Second one, I'll do in green. So first one, they walked 25.5 kilometers from camp, 35 degrees south of east. Okay, so to draw this, what we'd have to do is first go the second direction. So we're going to put a dot, go east, then we go south. So that is triangle 1, 25.5 kilometers, and at 35 degrees. So there's triangle 1. Triangle 2, on the second day, she walks 41 kilometers north of east at 65 degrees. So we first go east, then we go north. And it'll be 65 degrees here and 41 kilometers. So our givens. We're just going to write this down. 25.5 kilometers. That would be the resultant of triangle 1. And theta is 35 degrees. For triangle 2, we would have 41 kilometers is our resultant. Theta is 65 degrees. We have step 1 done. We have both our triangles. Step 2, calculate x and y components. So we're going to calculate this component and this component, this x value and y value. Notice this is going to be the adjacent side, this x right here. The y side is opposite because it's opposite the angle. This one's adjacent to the angle. So we're going to find the x and y components of both triangles. This would be the x, this would be the y, adjacent and opposite. So our unknown, we are going to be solving for the x of the first triangle, the y of the first triangle, the x of the second triangle, y of the second triangle. So the equation we are going to use, we have hypotenuse, we have theta. Trying to solve adjacent, we're going to use cosine. So cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. For y, we have theta, hypotenuse, solving for opposite, we'll use sine. Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Triangle 2, hypotenuse, theta, solving for adjacent. So we're going to use cosine again. And then for y, we have resultant or hypotenuse, theta, solving for opposite, so we use sine again. Now to rearrange, we're trying to solve for the adjacent and the opposites in each one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply hypotenuse by both sides, because when we multiply by hypotenuse, it's going to get rid of it on the right and put it on the left. So for our sorting, I'm going to have cosine theta times hypotenuse equals adjacent. Same thing over here, sine theta times hypotenuse equals opposite. Cosine theta, hypotenuse is adjacent. Sine theta, hypotenuse is our opposite. Oops. Now we're going to just plug it in because we know all these values. So cosine 35 degrees times 25.5 kilometers is going to give us our x values. And then sine 35 degrees, 25.5 kilometers. It's going to give us a y value. Then we'll do cosine cosine 65 degrees. So now we're using triangle 2. So we got these values, triangle 1, these values, triangle 2. Also it says it up here in our givens. So cosine 65 degrees, 41 kilometers. It's going to give us our x value. Sine 65 degrees times 41 kilometers. It's going to give us a y value. So y equals x equals y equals. Okay. For our first triangle, we are going to have 21 kilometers as our x value, 15 kilometers for our y value, although it's going to be negative, because if you notice, the x is going in the east direction, y is going south, so it will be negative. Triangle 2, it's going east and it's going north, so they're both going to be positive. It'll be 37 kilometers for the y, and x is going to be 17 kilometers. So step 2 is now done. We found the x's and the y's. Now we're going to, step 3 is add all your x's, add all your y's. So we're going to add our x's, add our y's. So we're going to take 21 kilometers plus 17. Plus 17, it's really bad, plus 38 kilometers. This is our x value. I'm going to draw that in a different color because it's going to represent a new triangle. Then we're going to have our y value, so we have 37 kilometers plus a negative 15 kilometers. This is going to equal our new triangle, which will be 22 kilometers for our y value. So now we have new x's and new y's. We are going to have a new triangle. So with that, we are going to draw a new triangle. I'm going to move over a little bit over here. So our x, I'm going to draw it in a different color because you can't really see that. Put it in black. Yeah. Black is 38 kilometers. For x, our y is 22 kilometers. So based off that, I'm going to make my triangle. In order to make the triangle, the one that is biggest is the one we go first. So we're going to go in the x direction before we go in the y because the x is bigger. Notice it's positive, so we are going to go east. Then we are going to go to the y value. It is positive, so we'll go north. This is our triangle. We have 38 kilometers here, 22 kilometers here. We are going to solve for the hypotenuse, or resultant, and theta. So we are given, we're going to be given 38 kilometers is our x value, 22 kilometers is our y value. Our unknown is going to be r and theta. Equation for r, we are going to do, because we don't have an angle right now, just Pythagorean theorem. So we'll do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. To sort it, just going to square root both sides. So we'll have the square root, a squared plus b squared equals c. We're going to just plug in those values. Radical. It doesn't matter which one you use as a or b. 38 kilometers squared plus 22 kilometers squared. You're going to get 44 kilometers. So that is your hypotenuse, or resultant, sorry. Now we're going to find theta. So over here, I'm going to do a second equation for theta. I'm actually just going to use tangent. Because opposite and adjacent, I like to use tangent because I already know I did those values. Tangent theta is opposite over adjacent. To sort it, we're going to do the inverse of tangent to get theta by itself. So opposite over adjacent, and it is going to equal theta. From here, we're just going to plug in tan -1. Opposite the angle is 22 kilometers. Adjacent is going to be 38 kilometers. and this is going to give us 60 degrees. So we got 44 kilometers, we got 60 degrees. Now we have to say what the triangle is. For this triangle, because the x value is bigger than the y, we're going to have to say the x direction before we say the y direction. Because it is positive, it's going to be east, so this is going to be 60 degrees, 44 kilometers at 60 degrees. We're going to go east and then north. So east of north. The reason why we go east first is because it is the bigger value and it is positive, so that tells us it is going east. So that would be